The Driscoll family remained torn apart in the aftermath of Megan Walsh's, Beth Nixon, abuse getting exposed in Coronation Street. The clan learned a few weeks ago that teacher Megan had been sexually abusing teenager Will Driscoll, Lucas Hodgson Will. The police were contacted immediately, but having the woman arrested was sadly easier said than done. With Will in denial and Megan refusing to take a DNA test on the baby she was carrying, Kate Green, Jacob Roberts, explained to the Driscolls that there wasn't any other physical evidence to prove something inappropriate happened between them. He's absolutely gutted. He's been through a stage of blaming himself. Maybe he's been too wrapped up in the move to Weatherfield, been stuck in the middle of the war between Maggie and Eva, focusing on his two other kids, and it just slid by him, star Aaron McCusker previously said, discussing how Ben felt about the discovery. He's disappointed in himself and he's going out of his way now to try to make things better, but with a teenage son it's not easy and he's going to have to work hard to repair the relationship. Melanie, who is Will's mom, is now in Weatherfield after discovering what her son has been through. She's causing problems for Ben Driscoll, Aaron McCusker, and makes the dynamic between them even more difficult next week when she announces that Will should come and live with her. After Ben drops a bombshell about Megan, his partner Eva Price, Catherine Tilsley, steps in and explains to Melanie that no one knew who Megan really was. Eva says that Megan's performance meant she had them all taken in, and it's important to not blame Ben. Eva's attempt at getting through to Melanie doesn't appear to work. In the week, she arrives at the pub and suggests to Will that he should move to Scotland with her. As Ben is dead against it, Melanie ramps the pressure up on Will, but he ends up losing his temper and storms out. Exhausted, Ben eventually suggests to Will that it might do him good to go and live with Melanie for a little while after everything that's happened. To Ben's surprise, Will actually agrees. Are we about to say goodbye to the character? The cobbles of Weatherfield had never felt heavier. It started like an ordinary morning in Coronation Street. Curtains opened, kettles boiled, and neighbors exchanged polite nods that barely hid years of secrets. But beneath the surface, something was already shifting. Something was about to break. Ben had been acting strangely for days. Quiet phone calls, late-night walks, a tension in his jaw that even Tyrone noticed when they crossed paths outside the garage. Maria tried to ignore it, chalking it up to stress. But deep down, everyone could feel it. Ben was carrying something that didn't belong to him alone. By mid-afternoon, the street had gathered in unusual numbers at the Rovers' return. It wasn't planned. It never is when trouble is coming. Leanne was behind the bar, watching the door like she already knew who would walk through it. Carla sat in the corner, arms folded, eyes sharp. Even Ken had drifted in, sensing the air had changed. Then Ben arrived. He didn't hesitate. He didn't order a drink. He just stood there, staring at the faces of people who had known him for years, people who had trusted him. I can't keep it in anymore, he said finally. The room went still. Maria frowned. Keep what in? Ben swallowed hard. His hands trembled slightly, betraying him. It wasn't an accident. The words hit like a dropped glass, sharp, sudden, impossible to ignore. What wasn't? Tyrone stepped forward, confused but already uneasy. Ben looked down, then back up. The crash. The night everything changed. It wasn't just bad luck. Someone caused it. A murmur swept through the pub. Carla's eyes narrowed. Leanne's hand froze mid-polish of a glass. You're saying someone did it on purpose? Ken asked quietly, as though saying it louder might make it real. Ben nodded. And I know who. Silence swallowed the room whole. He hesitated, just long enough for fear to settle in everyone's stomachs. Then he said it. It was one of us. That was the moment everything cracked. Maria shook her head immediately. No, you don't just walk in here and accuse people like that. But Ben wasn't finished. Years of guilt, pressure, and buried truth spilled out of him all at once. He spoke about arguments no one had taken seriously, warnings ignored, and a decision made in anger that had spiraled out of control. Faces changed as he spoke. Friends became suspects. Familiarity turned into suspicion. Even Leanne looked shaken now. Carla stood up slowly, her voice dangerously calm. If you're lying, Ben. I wish I was, he interrupted. The Rovers felt smaller with every word. By the time Ben finished, no one was looking at each other the same way. Trust had fractured in real time, right there under the hum of the pub lights. Years of shared history suddenly felt fragile, like it could shatter with a single wrong glance. And just like that, Ben dropped his final line. "I didn't come here to destroy this family," he said. But it was already broken. "I just made it visible." He walked out before anyone could stop him. Outside, the street looked the same. But inside the Rovers' return, Coronation Street had already begun to implode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Coronation Street Scoop News Update.